Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm really excited to share my work with you. So I have a few pieces here. Before I begin, I just wanted to introduce myself in Navajo out of respect for elders here, and also just acknowledging that I'm writing about and calling forth elders in my own work as well. So yeah, Nazbah look at and the first piece is called June Nights. You are dark cheekbones, thick gaze, and whispered thighs. We soft and tender shoots of limbs, womaning juniper lips, roasted husks of back, reaching yucca hair, blue corn length fingertips, palpate a pelvic moon dance. Together, the slow burn of this night uncoils our long days through cords of flesh. We dance fire and Milky Way sparks a chant of breasts. We stir ember tendons, pull on sinew of longing, raise salmon eyes across banks of jugular tongues. We warm the backs of words against stone clit and gift each other slick river rocks. Until at last, the ash of hungry mouths, braiding twilighting river, brings us to the edge of the ocean where your spine tethers our voices deep. This summer solstice lengthens our throats and finds us harvesting a season of heartbursts. The next piece is called Unfinished. And we all have those heartbreak poems, so this is mine. Unfinished. You of abalone mouth, layered pomegranate laughter and plantain tongue, become all at once a knot of syllables left yearning in the palm of my heart. Like a river stolen underground beneath soldiered earth, we hold each other as older women only in the memories of our dreams unslept. And I write this poem tonight, the one I promised you every day, left undone. The next one is called Nahitlet, and it's actually a reclaimed word to describe people of African ancestry of my culture. We adopt a lot of different communities into our clan system. And previously the word was Jini, which is actually a pejorative term for African Americans in our community. And this is for my nephew. Nahitlet. Obsidian dream, you are the womb of acceptance, in spite of harsh sandstone tongues and fatherland in flight. I remember my nephew with his squash blossom breath, exclaiming he was Navajo, not Jini, and the pride he exuded in declaring his identity. I wonder if he would have claimed all of his curly sand twister hair, wide blue sky nose, full crow-winged lips, bright jet eyes, hand drum of cheeks, red sheep butte shoulders, sunset crater lava flesh, pinyon pine thighs, white shell palms, white shell feet, if Nahitlet was known to his complexion. In the valley of historical amnesia, deity song waits for us to reclaim our crystal fire children and to set them into the silver bracelets of Masana, grandmother. This umbilical cord must root slave ship, anchor into havan of resistance, and holds a basket. My nephew we mark Tse'adzazi, mountain mahogany root. We wrap chi, red ochre stories into his cradleboard memory. And together we will hold E'atin, this doorway, into this world we call Nihathgai, the glittering world. Two more pieces. This is called Undergrowth. And this piece actually is published as a part of Passage and Place. They had a book project, so you heard that the printer was releasing the books the 25th of this month, so I get a copy of it. I'm excited. Okay. My sister sent me a photo of our childhood home up in flames, piles of rotted wood burning under the sky. I wish I had been there to gather the wood, to light the match, to say my goodbyes. Later that week, I went to therapy and told my therapist about this wish of my younger self. I talked about how my father built both the wooden frame of our house and my legs. He built both with what he knew, but houses and young children need different things. A hammer cannot take the place of hands. And I found, as I talked, I was my own tinder, that my heart was a booklet of matches. It contained match after match after match after match of sorrow, anger, and rage. My limbs, long seasoned in the winters on the res, slowly caught fire. The natives of this land that I live on now knew the importance of fire to maintain the health of the forest. They knew about controlled burns, not the hungry incinerators that elder redwoods would come to know, but about the tender touch of many hands clearing out undergrowth. My father was a coal miner, hands long stained by the dusty coal he brought home to warm our house. I think of how coal is the liver of our mother, and how liver holds anger, and how we inhale that anger in the deepest nights of winter. Angry children, angry mothers, angry fathers. I looked at that photo and saw for the first time how small the house was that I grew up in. My small limbs remembered something bigger. And my father did the best with what he knew. Anger suppressed, walked our ancestors home long ago from Huelte, Fort Sumner. I know that now. And now that I'm coming home once again, I will light this matchbook of sorrow against the rough bark of my pinyon pine chest and warm my grandchildren by this fire. And the final one is called Spinning Stories. Masana sits in her kitchen, spinning wool. She pinches the tip of her tongue with her thumb and forefinger as she joins the spun yarn with a soft bunch of carded wool. Her low laugh settles into my belly like tortilla dipped into milky tea as she watches my mother pour my grandfather another cup of tea, with one hand as she flips a fresh tortilla in the pan with another. Masana's left hand rolls and pulls the spinning stick as she tracks the conversation with her fingers like hawk feathers hanging midair, watching the landscape of rabbit mouths moving in and out of coyote gossip. Her right hand tugs and gives a trail of yarn as she pulls the conversation tight, spooling and unrolling the story until it coils onto itself as even and strong as her juniper arms. I watch the spinning stick tap dance next to Masana's feet, her linoleum floor long etched by this patient meditation, her floor a scratchy song of memory and footsteps. I have watched Masana spin wool many times. The conversation fades away as I concentrate on her hands. I think she is magic as she turns puffs of clouds into jet stream trails against the sky of her faded blue cotton skirt. Later, Masana will sit by herself, pull the yarn from the spinning stick, and restring this conversation along the back of her tricep, up to and around her thumb, smiling to herself as she twists the yarn, before tossing the ball of stories into a basket near her feet. Thank you.